Inside the Fox 59 CBS 4 podcast studio, welcome to the Colts Blue Zone Podcast. I'm Dave Griffiths. Glad to have you here. Joining us, a return from the bench, from the injured reserve list, Mike Chappell. Not only, Chap, a return to see the Colts have one win, but since your last appearance, 2 wins. The Indianapolis Colts 2-0 to start the 2025 season. It's a start that you kind of predicted here on the podcast. I did not give you enough credit. I was like, I don't know about this. You were talking about 3-0 eventually to start the season, but as of now, it is wins over the Dolphins and the Broncos that have the Colts 2-0.
Shame on you.
It is terrible. Terrible. I have no faith.
And again, I'm old enough to remember the last time they went 2-0. Peyton Manning made a routine of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were 9-0s, there were 14-0s, and just briefly, what it does, it gives you a chance. It gives you a chance to do something.
Yep.
It's so hard. They play 17 games. They always say, well, it's a marathon. Well, it's 17 games. This isn't baseball where you have a 8-game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
So this gives them a chance, especially with the rest of the division sort of trying to find their way.
Right.
With Houston looking very, very ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is a chance. And I talked to DeForest Buckner today, and I probably worded it the wrong way, but I said, is there a concern that you guys are sort of full of yourselves and you think you've accomplished something? And he said, no. He said, it's you've got to take the approach a week at a time. They do. So it's just a great opportunity moving forward.
Yep. Yeah, better not be full of yourself. If you are, serious problems.
Then you have problems
with the leadership with the on your team right
Right.
now. Matt Adams, our producer as well. Matt, did I introduce you 10 seconds ago?
I think
I just started with Chap. That's my
right.
fault. Terrible, completely unprofessional by me. But also, we were just chatting, Matt and I, just before we turned this on, saying like it seems like in week 3, like every year, like you have teams that are 2-0 that start out well, and they're facing 0-2 teams, and all the money in Vegas is going toward that 2-0 team because everybody's like, this team's playing great. The 0-2 team is playing terrible. Well, like you've really got to, I think, have your head on a swivel this week in particular. I think tonight is another good example. Like it's Bills Dolphins on Thursday Night Football, and crazy things happen on Thursday Night Football anyway. But also for the Colts facing the Titans, a 2-0 team that looks great, an 0-2 team that's really struggling. The Colts need to be wary of this week against a division
Absolutely.
opponent.
It's their first road game
Yep.
because they got to have 2 comfortable games at home. I wouldn't call the Denver game necessarily a comfortable game, but they had 2 games at home and able to get to that 2-0 mark. Now they got to make their first road trip. So now you've got to, crowd noise plays into it, elements play into it because they're going to be playing outside instead of, inside the confines of Lucas Oil Stadium. So it'll be an interesting matchup for them for sure.
Yep. And they got to this point by a victory over the Denver Broncos. Boy, what a final couple minutes of that game that we should probably get into before we fully look ahead into the future. It was the Colts were down by 2. They got the ball. They moved into extended field goal range.
He said field goal range, and I'm thinking,
and
well,
then
yes.
Shane Steichen looked very happy to kick a 60-yard field goal with the way he called the plays.
JT doesn't lose a yard, it went a 59-yard field
Oh,
goal.
excuse me.
So
Yeah, it was okay. So it was a 59-yard field goal that he was excited
would have
about.
been the longest in franchise history.
Yep, but Spencer Schrader I think I forget who wrote this. I wish I remembered. I could give them credit, but he chunked a driver,
Right.
and then he hit the hybrid as pure as you can, 45 yards down, right down Broadway. And Spencer Schrader is still perfect technically on the 2025 season, kind of like Rigoberto Sanchez technically has not punted this year. Some great technical facts about the Colts special teams this year, which are the best kind of facts, being technically correct. But Schrader gets that other opportunity because of a penalty. And it was maybe a questionable penalty, but I think by the letter of the law, it is a penalty.
Said, it's a penalty.
It is. And Peyton also kind of took some blame for it, calling the field goal block in the first place in the manner he did, even though players have to execute that better. So like that's a coach saying that he shouldn't have done what he did, and players obviously shouldn't have done what they did. But the Colts get that game-winning field goal. 29-28 is the final. A win over the Denver Broncos, a playoff team last year, a team that had won its first game of the season.
A legit team. I think they're a legit team.
They are. I agree. They have great defensive players. And the Colts' offensive line looked very, very good against what has been, over the last year, the best pass rush defense in the NFL. I believe Daniel Jones was sacked once.
Mhm.
Was that it? Just
Yep.
just the one sack in the entire game after they had 6 in week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. And they had 63 last year, which led the NFL. So there's a lot of reasons to be to be excited and to say that this 2-0 start, Chap, is not just a fluke. We were asking ourselves after week 1, like, are the Dolphins just terrible? Which they very much might be.
They may be.
Exactly. So how good are the Colts really?
Right.
Well, they get a win over a pretty good looking team right now. It was at home. It was on a weird way to end it in the fourth quarter, but those are kind of games that, Chap, in the past that the Colts maybe haven't always won those games, and they're able to pull them out in the fourth quarter and show a little bit more intestinal fortitude there in order to come out on the correct side of things at the final gun.
Well, I mean, Tony Dungy is one of the many guys who says more games are lost than won.
Right.
And Denver lost the game. You had the really bad interception by Nix when they're in field goal range.
Yep. Can't bind them.
And then Lux misses a 42-yarder. He's probably a 95% kicker. I don't know, inside 40 yards, 42 yards. And then they had to get the break of a leverage kick. But in 5 weeks, that's not going to matter. You won. I look back to the game in Denver last year where the Colts lost it in my mind with a couple of bad plays. So that's the way it is. But I'd much rather have. And again, I thought it was important that Shane Steichen came out the next day and said, my bad.
Yes.
I can't put my players in that position.
And I agree. And,
right.
Yeah, he needed to say something, and he did. Because after the game, like, you could tell in the press conference room, like, Shane was still jacked up from that game. Like, he was on one coming into that press conference. Like,
and he should have been.
Exactly. He won a big game for real. Like, you could tell that he was kind of holding his emotions back there. But he was asked about it, and he was like, yeah, we like, he didn't want to get into it too much. He was talking about, like, not wanting to punt the ball away or kick the ball away. He was
more concerned with leaving Denver
time on the clock than he was
as opposed to making
setting up his field goal kicker for
a kicker
success.
Whose longest kick was 48 yards.
He still has no makes over 50 in his NFL career. He has the leg to do it. We've seen it in the past, but he has never done it. So yeah, settling for the 60-yard field goal.
That won't happen again. And again, they had all their timeouts. I think Denver had used theirs.
Right, they had.
You could have had some safe passes.
Yes.
And doggone it, if you leave them 30 seconds, then
tell your defense to go win the damn game.
Right. Yeah.
Your first priority is to score points and get the lead, not to leave zero time on the clock.
So I think that I'd much rather learn from that in a win than the alternative.
Yep.
So and again, it's such a long season, but it's such a short season as far as games.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as I said earlier, this gives them a chance to do something that they're not accustomed to. I didn't look, but there can't be a player on that team. Maybe Buckman Frisco that started 2-0, maybe Bynum with the Vikings. I don't know. Mooney.
Vikings started really well last year.
Yeah, they did. So, but here that's not the case.
Right.
And
Mooney was on the Chiefs for a while, so I'm sure he must have started
I'm sure there's a handful of players. Yeah. But the homegrown guys, the Quintons and all these guys, this is new ground. And I really think Steichen's got he wears us down with the discipline and focus and all that. But I do think the players listen to him, and you just have to reset it. And you can't let the previous week, if you lose, wear on you. Then that impacts the next game. Same with winning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for real. And now the Colts are 2-0. They're on top of the AFC South. Jaguars are behind them at 1-1, and behind them, the Texans and the Titans are both 0-2. The Texans are looking kind of discombobulated right now because C.J. Stroud can't breathe after he gets the ball before feeling pressure.
They redid the line.
Well,
completely.
They tried. They certainly tried.
Still waiting for that chemistry to come together.
And like, I look back to the Ryan Grigson years here in Indianapolis. Like, people got on Grigson for letting Andrew Luck get beat up the way he did. But he did remake the line a couple of times. Like, he tried to do something. It just didn't work.
Right.
And you can say the same thing right now in Houston after 2 games. It's certainly not the finished product, but what they did in the offseason to remake that line does not appear to have worked too well. And they are now 0-2, looking up at the Colts, which is the place the Colts have been used to in the past. And now everyone else has to be chasing them, which is the familiar territory to the Colts in the past, is trying to be the chasers rather than the chasee.
Well, and then too, I mean, the troubles they've got on offense are kind of obvious, but this is supposed to be a very strong defense. And the Bucs went, was it 2 minutes? With the game-winning drive?
Yep.
And 4th and 10, they let Baker make field.
Baker, let's go.
I tell you, he's the guy in a bar at night that is always just poking people, and he wants to start fights.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about that you like.
Yep.
And
if he's your guy,
if he's your guy,
right?
Correct.
Yep.
So, but they've got issues. That's their problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll help the Colts this week. I think to get Mooney Ward back, we'll go over this later on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably a chance they get Latu back. Their edge pass rush is non-existent.
Right.
So they got to get that fixed.
That would be certainly one thing to look at that the Colts need to be better at. But one thing that you look at that you could not be too much happier with right now is the play of quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones has had a very strong start to the season. Threw for 300-plus yards last week for the first time in a long time. He has combined his first 2 weeks for 588 passing yards, which he's only done twice before in his career in back-to-back games, been able to reach that tally. And the last one came all the way back in 2022. So it's been 3 years since he's been able to have this kind of short stretch.
I remember 2022 for Daniel Jones.
Yes.
Was his season.
It was, very much. Yeah. And
it was a playoff year. And
mm-hmm.
and it's sort of, I wrote about it today, it's sort of the same formula, where that's the year that Saquon Barkley
mm-hmm.
ran for 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is that Jones did not have the receivers or the tight ends that he's got now.
You're correct.
So this is what I've been most impressed with after 2 games is Jones hasn't done anything extraordinary.
Right.
He's just sort of made plays.
Mm-hmm.
And some quarterbacks don't just make plays.
Mm-hmm.
They make the great plays and they don't make the layups, so to
mm-hmm.
speak. He's played very high, at a high level. But again, I don't think he's doing anything more than he needs to do, which is kind of encouraging to me.
For real, I completely agree. And it goes back to everything that Shane Steichen said about why he chose Daniel Jones to be the starter. Is because he finds completions, because he gets the offense in the correct position.
71%?
Yep. And you love it. And the offense is doing its job to make big plays, like Jonathan Taylor taking swing passes, 60-plus yards or whatever it was, 40-plus yards.
The first swing pass was kind of cool, but he got to the edge before they could react.
Yeah.
The second one, they didn't even follow him out there.
Nope.
No.
Now,
what are they doing?
Is that because you've got everybody else and they got to – but –
Well, that's the one where they ran him in motion and then
the touchdown wasn't in motion. The one to the right, the 47-yard
right.
was in
yeah.
motion.
That one they just just got their
just
mixed
schemed
up.
it and we've seen Jonathan Taylor in the past game in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, the year that he had a good year in the pass game was 2021, when a certain Carson Wentz was quarterback. And now that you mention it, Mike Schaub, you brought up the 2021 season and Jonathan Taylor's great.
But that's
great
why
use.
I stopped it. I didn't stop it.
But it would appear that one Carson Wentz is back. He is back, baby.
Sabotage.
He's starting against who they play. Minnesota play
Bengals, I believe.
It's the fierce battle in Ireland between Jake Browning and Carson Wentz.
They said he's the first quarterback to start a game for 6 different teams in 6 years.
How about that? Carson Wentz could be the king of Ireland.
I mean, that's
this redheaded man, 6'5".
He could be.
He's going over there. Everyone's going to look at him as the Irish king. Over
good for him.
Yep.
Hey,
I love it. Good for him. See what he can do with Kevin
O'Connell. In my mind,
McConnell.
the way J.J. McCarthy's played, I think that Wentz can have a chance to play.
Yep. How about that?
So,
yep.
Good for him.
Yep. And the the Vikings haven't looked tremendous. Yeah.
No.
Like you said with J.J. McCarthy.
McCarthy had like one great fourth quarter.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they eked one out against the Bears, and then
but yeah,
after that.
It's somewhere.
The Bears might be pretty bad too.
Yeah,
they could be. Yeah.
It's looking like.
Yeah. And
they've got a lot of work, I guess.
Right.
I should say.
And somewhere on the line between irony and coincidence that Ryan Kelly will be snapping to Carson Wentz there for the Minnesota Vikings for the next couple weeks.
Amazing.
And that's all we need to say about that right now. But I do want to go back to Daniel Jones, Matt, because you put together some good stats here, and I wanted to give you the chance to deliver them since you put together. But Daniel Jones, what he's been able to do this year against the blitz has been particularly impressive, especially when you look at his history, Matt, what he has done against the blitz before.
Yeah, this comes to us from PFF Pro Pro Football Focus, and he has faced 50 dropbacks with a blitz this season so far, and that is the second highest number of blitzes against a quarterback in the first 2 games of the season since 2010. Robert Griffin III was blitzed 53 times in his first couple games in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
He has a 106.3 passer rating against the blitz.
Pretty good.
Passed for 455 yards, 9.7 yards per attempt.
That's really good.
I mean, and the thing is, and this goes back to, one of the limitations of Jones that we have heard over and over and over again is you put a little pressure on him, he folds like tissue paper, and he panics and he makes stupid plays. And for the Colts right now, through the first 2 games, he knows exactly what he's doing out there. He's doing a pretty good job of evading pressure, sidestepping, altering his arm angles. It's been pretty impressive so far.
He looks in control.
Right.
And I think that's the best description that I can give, Chap, about Daniel Jones. He's never, like Matt alluded to, he's not looked helter-skelter, ragged.
No.
Like,
doesn't look like he's
flying
panicking
by the
back
seat of his
there.
pants.
I got to get rid of the ball.
Yes.
He's stand there. He's taken the pressure a few times,
Mhm.
and he's only been sacked twice.
Yep.
Unfortunately, both sacks happened in the red zone.
Right.
One of them resulted in a touchdown because that was Pittman caught the touchdown pass right after that one in Miami, and then the one in against Denver also had a holding penalty. I think they ended up settling for a field goal on that drive.
The pressure, like the big third down to Pierce. To get him in field goal range.
Yeah, he had to stand there. He knew they were coming.
And he
diagnosed
it.
it.
Right. So it's that quick release. And, I still this is, I guess this is part of me that's the negative part. I still want to see more from Jones. I mean, 2 games is
it's a small sample
size.
For sure.
But it's an encouraging sample size. And again, as long as they've got a run game, holy smoke! I'm not saying 165 every game for Taylor, but maybe
that'd be great.
Maybe. I mean, look how he finished last year. Was it 5 games? So he's averaging 144 a game. So it just makes it easier when you've got that where you're going to get Taylor, you're going to get 1, you're going to get 7, you're going to get 9, and then 3, and then 68. I'm still surprised the guy had the angle and stopped the touchdown.
Yeah.
But again, we've said this from the start that Jones has the best supporting cast that he's had. And at the end of the season, if barring injuries and all this, we're not going to see, I don't think, that guy with the stats. And if there is the one guy that has it, it might be Tyler Warren. But they're going to spread the ball around, and these guys are going to have to be patient. And as long as they run the ball 20 times a game with Taylor and spread the ball around, this is a hard defense to defend.
Yep. And Jonathan Taylor is the AFC Offensive Player of the Week after his performance. 200-plus yards from scrimmage, about 160 on the ground, right around that range. Had a 68-yard run, 43-yard reception. This is the 4th time in his career that he's been the AFC Offensive Player of the Week, averaging 6.6 yards per carry, which we talked about last week when you weren't here, Chap, that the run game really didn't quite get off the ground in week 1. Taylor only averaged 3.9 per carry. And so I asked him last week, how close were you to breaking a few? And he thought that he was. And he was just, a shoestring tackle or a one little block, one little cut away. And that's typically how it always is in the NFL. You're just a little bit away. And that's just the difference between being good and being not so good. And Taylor found it this
the
past
68-yarder that he jump cuts to elude the tackle.
Yep. Beautiful play.
And then yes, there was blocking, but he really made that play.
He did.
Because then he goes between the end of the linebacker or whatever, and then he splits a couple corners. And that's what great backs do.
So according to Next Gen Stats, Taylor hit a top speed of 22.38 miles per hour during his pass reception, which is the fastest recorded speed by a ball carrier since Purdue great Raheem Mostert in 2020. Hit 23 miles per hour, 23.09.
That's Taylor's objective is 23.
He wants 23 really bad.
You think that internally he knows, okay, it's 22.5. Do you think that little button goes off where 23?
I think that he knows when it's up there or when it's getting close. I don't know if he would know exactly when it's 23.
I think there's a feel.
Yeah.
I thought I'll go back and look. I thought I used it last week that I thought his fastest time was the long touchdown against Kansas City when he broke their backs and went up the middle. But when you've got that speed and that cutting ability to where just get that's why it's important for Pierce or Pittman to get that block on the second level.
Yep.
Because you don't know if that's the one that lets you go the distance.
Yep. Pierce and Pittman are pretty good blockers too for wide receivers' sake. And
I think Warren's pretty good too.
Yeah, he seems all right. You know, if you're the Chicago Bears and you're trying to get Caleb Williams off the ground right now, how much would you like a tight end like Tyler Warren?
Thank you, Chicago.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, very much so. I don't, not that Colston Loveland's going to be a bust or anything, but it's just like different skill sets, different players, and obviously the Colts have integrated and built an offense around Tyler Warren, and Colston Loveland's just a guy right now.
2 catches, Colston Loveland. 2 catches on 3 targets.
I noticed 3 or 4 plays against Denver where they put Warren on Benito. I mean, he's one of those 10 guys in the league that can wreck a game.
Yep.
And you let
your rookie tight end block this dude.
So that just shows you. And I'm telling you, we still haven't seen everything that Tyler Warren can do. There's more, but it's we knew the potential importance of him to this offense, and we've seen it so far.
And we were right. We're not always right about everything, but we were right.
But this is one of those
yeah, exactly.
Like, really?
Yeah.
But he's been again when he does things that just maybe what he was doing by the goal line allowed Taylor to get out by himself.
Yep.
And that's what it's kind of like. You can't double team everybody, and it's up to the quarterback to find that guy that's open.
Right. And tight ends can be a big asset in the red zone in particular, but that is one area the Colts have really not quite found their footing so far this year on offense. Like, they've scored a lot. They haven't punted, as is very famously true this year. And Rigoberto Sanchez is doing a whole lot of holding. God bless him. But the Colts are just 5 of 12 inside the red zone, a touchdown percentage of 41.6%, which is good enough for 26th in the NFL. If that, I think, continues over the course of the season,
you have an issue.
Then that's a problem. And losses will creep up because you have to finish drives like that in the end zone.
You can't leave points on the field.
Not that often.
So you just, I mean, it's common sense, but you turn a couple of those field goals into touchdowns against Denver, and then you're not waiting for a miracle penalty call at the end to get a second chance to win the game.
Right. Fact. And they have scored on every red zone possession because they're not turning it over, and they haven't missed any field goals yet. So that's good. You're getting points on all these plays.
I mean, the hierarchy is obviously 3 points better than no points, but 7 points better than 3.
Exactly. And you need 7 to beat the best teams in the league more often than you need 3. Jonathan Taylor has the only red zone receiving touchdown. Nothing for any of the receivers yet. Pittman caught his from
27 yards out, I think. Yeah.
So those wide receivers and tight ends and Josh Downs are also wide receiver, but are probably chomping at the bit a little bit to get some of those.
We're going to get a Mo Ali Cox in the red zone.
Oh, let's go.
We are.
Yeah.
We're going to. It's just a good group. Right now, Tyler Warren's dominated the tight ends, but you're going to get some Mo. We had a couple of Mo catches.
We have. I love it.
We need to get some Ogletree and Mallory, but it's just a good group.
Yeah, Mallory hasn't done much. Has he been inactive both games?
Game day inactive, I
think so, both times.
I can't remember on week 2 if he was or not.
I know. Yeah, you're right about week 1 for sure, and I didn't see him week 2.
And
so
Ogletree hasn't been real. Now he did draw a pass interference because he was going to get open on one of his plays, and they kind of had one of those grabby defensive guys on that play.
Yep. So that's one thing the Colts offense could get better at, even as they're pretty impressive so far through 2 games, a 2-0 record. As we turn our attention now, I guess, a little bit to the future. You're watching the Colts Blue Zone Podcast on Fox 59 now. The Colts have signed Austin Ajike to the 53-man roster from the practice squad. This is not an elevation, chap, as we've seen for the past couple weeks. You can only do that so many times before you have to bring a player up fully from practice squad. I think it's 3. So they had a little bit of wiggle room there still left, but he's now on the 53-man roster. Center Jimmy Morrissey signed to the practice squad. He was a 7th-round pick of the Raiders back in 2021. Also played with the Giants and the Houston Texans. So that's the big roster news of the week. And Ajike has been on like kick coverage units. He's been consistently as a guy there in the lineups. So you could put him on the practice squad, but he was always playing consistently.
But keep in mind, the guy on practice squad's essentially a free agent.
You're right.
He can sign anywhere.
Yes, he can. So, and you have guys that you like to keep,
Right.
on your 53-man roster. Like last year, they did it almost all year with Isaiah Land at defensive
Right.
end. Like they kept him on the roster, but he was inactive every week. But sometimes you would bring up guys from the practice squad to actually play in some games. So it's just the roster mechanics of some things are weird. We don't need to get too into that because it's not all that interesting, to be perfectly honest. What's much more interesting is the Colts are getting set for their first AFC South game. They will visit Nashville, Tennessee, and take on the 0-2 Titans. Titans, after a road loss to Denver and a home loss against the Rams, they had a halftime lead against LA and a third quarter lead against Denver. So this is not a team that has been blown out, Chap, by any stretch. And it is a team, even though the offense is a work in progress, as Cam Ward is their quarterback now, and they're figuring out
feeling the rookie
right.
learning curve
right
now.
Their defense has been pretty impressive from time to time, and is as we would expect from the history of the Titans. Even though Mike Vrabel's not there, they still have some pretty tough guys on that side of the ball.
Probably what we're seeing defensively is the wear down of the offense not
unproductive offense.
I think the offense has scored one touchdown in 2 games, and again, when the quarterback's completing 50%, which been there.
Yep. It's not fun.
It's not fun because there was I don't remember I guess it was a touchdown where he throws it back across the field.
Yeah. One of those. Oh, don't do that. Oh, what a play!
That's what Zaire Franklin says. I hope he does that again. So be careful what you wish for. But again, this is why you take advantage. They've got some good players. Ridley's quality. Tony Pollard's quality. You can't let them establish the run game. And Daniel Jones was asked about when he was a rookie, what he remembers, what he faced. He said they want you to speed up your game. They want you to do things quicker. And he's been sacked, 11 times?
11 times. 6 against the Broncos, then 5 against the Rams.
And these guys have got to get this pass rush fixed.
What a great opportunity to do so.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
And getting Latu back, if he's back, is huge. Because, again, they're just not – Kwity Paye hasn't done much in 2 games. And if you don't get it from Latu, Samson Ebukam he's got the only sack by a lineman. The other 2 are by –
Yep.
Didn't Buckner get one?
No, it's funny. We've talked to Buck in the locker room. No, they took it away. They called it a run.
What? Boo.
They called Bo running as a runner. He's out there on the edge looking to throw the ball.
Right.
And
I didn't know that.
Yes, they took it away.
That's terrible.
And Buck
zero statistical sacks against
That's awful.
The Broncos.
0 statistical hits. I've never seen that before. But no, Buck said he's appealed to the league, and they'll say, yeah, no. It was a sack. It was announced
as
100%
a sack.
Yes, no question. And it sounds like, you guys, it's no big deal. No, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big deal for players. At the end of the season, Buck will have whatever. Well, he should have had one more.
Yeah.
And we keep these for a reason. We harp on sacks for a reason.
You guys, when you're debating Pro Football Hall of Famers, like you talk about numbers all the time.
Right. And
like this many 10-sack seasons.
And
that's important.
I know how hard he works, how hard all those guys work. But this is an interior guy that ran out to the edge to chase the quarterback down. No, they called it a run.
That's terrible.
Which is
no, I can picture the play in my head. That's terrible.
Right.
Absolutely terrible.
So again, but you've got to get after the quarterback, any quarterback, but with a young quarterback who's finding his way, and I think it's pretty obvious that the Titans are saying he's got to play. He's got to play and learn, and that's fine. But make sure his learning curve is stunted by what you do Sunday. And they got to get the good run defense, but they've got to get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and Cam Ward was taken first overall because he has shown dynamic ability, but he has not been dynamic so far through these first 2 weeks of the season. His longest pass play is only 29 yards, and that just makes it so much more difficult. Like we saw with Anthony Richardson, that he could uncork at 60 yards off his back foot, and the Colts had some weapons to be able to take advantage of that. And so at any moment, like you could have a 3-play, 77-yard drive and it's a touchdown. But the Titans so far, like they haven't shown that ability yet this year with the players they have, with the quarterback they have. And like you look at the history, like I said, in college, he did it from time to time. So he's got the arm to do it for sure. But to have to tell your rookie to step in and to methodically move the ball down the field because you can't attack the defense deep at all, probably because you don't have time to do it because you're running for your life and getting sacked 11 times in the first 2 games. Like that's a tall order for a young quarterback to ask them to have 8-play drive, 10-play drive. drive after drive in order to get points at the end of it. So that's one thing that's against the Titans right now. They have not been able to attack down the field, and it's probably because they haven't been able to protect the quarterback. Because, like I said, like Cam Ward has the arm to throw it deep. Calvin Ridley's a decent wide receiver. He's attacked defenses deep in the past. Tony Pollard at running back is a good player. Like they have some good players on that offense that can do damage, but it's just if you can't block, if you can't protect, I guess that really puts the entire offense behind the 8 ball.
I think he's lost 2 fumbles as well.
Yep.
From the pressure. Again, it's speeding things up. And again, we'll see what the injury report is on Friday, but the idea of getting Ward back on the outside, which we saw Xavier Howard.
Woo.
My goodness.
That was a little nerve-wracking.
That was a rough one.
I mean, he gets beat on the deep ball to Mims, and then he gets 3 penalties in 5 plays.
Yep. I know the fans weren't happy, but let me tell you, like, they were penalties, right?
He bear hugged the guy, especially the first one. He spun the guy around. And I don't know if that ball was catchable. So and it was a 3rd down and long. I see the Colts being upset about that one. But the other 2, he bear hugged the guy, and then he was tugging the guy's jersey as he was trying to jump for a ball in the corner of the end zone.
I think what people were also upset about is that there seemed to be 1 or 2 plays that were good physical plays against Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce, I think, on a previous drive or 2 for the Colts. So I think that's what spurred the bubbling up of resentment a little bit. Like from my perspective, I would have to go back and watch this, but from my perspective, watching those plays, I think the difference between them is there was a lot more back and forth fighting between Pittman and Pierce and the receivers. Like those guys, like Pitt and Pierce, they have their arms and they're going back. And it looked like with Howard, there wasn't that much from the receivers. The receivers were kind of more focused on the ball, and then they are getting turned around. Excuse me if I just hit the table here, but I think that's what the primary difference was in those scenarios. So as a lot of people were very upset with the pass interference calls inside Lucas Oil Stadium, I think that's the reason why it happened. I'm just trying to offer an explanation. I don't know if it's completely right, but from my perspective, I guess that's what happened.
Well, and again, though, to get Ward back, then he's out there.
And he's your number 1. Yes, exactly.
And I'm guessing there's a chance he's on Ridley.
Yep.
Because he's that good.
Yep.
And again, if you get Latu back, it's just huge. The fact that these 2 guys are addressing concerns at 2 areas that you had problems with against Denver. So a lot of reason for optimism, but again, they've got to go out and continue to do it because Tennessee's not going to be impressed with this offense that's not punted or whatever. You got to go out and take care of business.
The Titans defense has allowed 378 yards per game, which is 28th in the NFL right now. They've given up 300 rushing yards, 150 per game, which is not very Titans-like. They have racked up 193 yards on 23 penalties through 2 games. That is brutal. Like it was painful enough for the Colts to have 11 last week.
They call that hidden yardage. That's not.
That's not very hidden.
That's not,
no, that's pretty clear.
Yeah, there's nothing hidden in that, and that's a team that is undisciplined. Like once it happens, you can be frustrated and like you can say
twice.
Something happens bad. Yeah, exactly. Right. If it happens twice back-to-back games, then they need a get right week in terms of penalties. They need to play
because the Colts were relatively clean against Miami. I mean, they had a couple.
They had 4, I think.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything like they did against Denver. Like you feel like Denver's the aberration, but now the Titans have done that almost 2 weeks in a row.
Titans are +2 in turnover differential. They have 3 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries as a team, as opposed to 3 fumbles lost on offense. The Colts are +4 in turnover differential. They have 3 interceptions, 1 fumble, recovery, and zero turnovers.
What was it? I've not seen the stats. It's the first time it wasn't the Super Bowl era that they've had opened the season with back-to-back turnover-free games.
Yes.
So it's and again, the thing again with Jones is he's not putting the ball, for the most part, at risk.
Yeah, there's been a throw or 2, but like every quarterback has a throw or 2 per game. It's not multiple times all the time.
Indy is only one of 6 teams without a turnover so far this season. Buffalo, Green Bay, Philadelphia, Tampa, and Washington are the others. That's pretty good company there.
That is why I put that in there, because you look at some of those teams there, those are considered the elite top teams right now in the NFL. And
at the end of the season, they got the teams that are plus.
They should all be there.
The top 6 or 7 teams will be playoff teams.
Right.
If you look at the injury report for this week, the Colts do have a couple of concerns, and top of that list is Josh Downs and Tyler Warren. Josh Downs did not practice on Wednesday with an ankle injury. Tyler Warren did not practice with a toe injury. I'd say we look at the old Twitter sphere right now just to see, since we're doing this podcast as Thursday's practice is going on out there, to see what's happening with that. Let me check out our good friend Joel A. Erickson from the Indianapolis Star. See if he's tweeted anything out. Let's see. Joe Bocci is out today. He says Tyler Warren and Josh Downs are practicing. Boom. Look at that.
I wish we could impress upon people to not go to DEFCON 1
on Wednesday
with Wednesday's injury report.
No.
I mean, I just, and again, we're around it all the time and we understand.
Right.
And I'm trying not to be elitist, but the only report that really matters is Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Friday, DeForest Buckner will not practice.
Yep.
Because he doesn't practice on Friday.
He doesn't need to, right?
And at this point of the season, if you've got something, more than likely they're going to give you a day to deal with something. I saw Tyler Warren walking around the locker room. He looked fine, although with toes, I mean, toes are sort of important on planning and pushing off.
Relatively, yes.
But just wait and see. Again, the most important thing, we'll see what it is later on today, is if Mooney Ward is full, which I think he will be. There's a chance that he's already cleared protocol.
Right.
Because remember, he didn't practice last week, which throws off our timeline. So, again, knock on wood, they're in pretty good shape. The one I'd be most concerned about, because it's a hamstring, is Latu.
Right.
But just people need to just sort of settle down until Friday if they can.
Chap is setting to calm down.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless somebody just shows up on a Wednesday injury report with a concussion, then that's a concern.
And there have been times where, and you got to be careful, where somebody was limited on Wednesday,
right, with
whatever, hamstring, maybe in
Latu 2 weeks.
Latu.
Last week.
Well, that means he did it in practice,
right?
And those are the ones you have to watch for.
Yeah.
But by and large, they nurse these guys. But if you know what you're looking for in the injury report, you can kind of guess, an educated guess on who's trending in the right direction.
Right. But Latu was limited on Wednesday. Bernard Ryman with an illness was limited. And Mooney Ward, Austin Ajike, and Tyler Goodson were all full participants, even though they did.
Goodson's got to be close.
I think so.
I would think he's going to play this week.
So do I. I think they thought a couple of weeks. Jonathan Taylor was at 66 of 71 plays. He was out there.
That's a lot of plays.
Now the first game, they sort of let DJ Giddens.
Yeah, and once because that game got out of hand pretty quick.
Right.
So they're like, we're not going to put JT out there anymore.
But I think getting Goodson back with that elbow, again, they didn't put him on IR because they thought he would be a couple of weeks. This might be the week he comes back.
And to give Jonathan Taylor a few more rests in the second quarter, third quarter. So he is out there in the fourth quarter when you desperately need him.
He had 98 yards in the fourth quarter the other
day. And he's done that throughout his career. Like,
correct.
He wears teams down. He's a
Those
physical
2-yard runs
back.
become 5-yard runs, then they become 10-yard runs, and then he pops one.
And then he pops one.
68-yard runs.
That's what the great backs do.
Yep. And he's certainly proved to be that over his early part of his career.
It's funny, we were talking to Zaire Franklin about this. He wants to be the spokesperson for the Jonathan Taylor club. It's amazing to me, and maybe this is just being defensive of the home team, how Taylor still isn't regarded as one of the top backs in the league. It's like there's 5 guys, and we'll put Taylor 6 or 7. And I've never understood that. Again, what he's done to open the season. He's still the NFL's the active leader in yards per game. So it's crazy.
More than Derrick Henry in yards per game. Yeah,
right. And it's just crazy how people forget that a couple of years ago it was 1,800 yards. Last year was it 13 or 14?
I think it was in the 14 range.
So it just slays me, but that's fine. It's all about what you do and what you've done with your team, and that's kind of Jonathan Taylor's lot right now.
Yeah, team success certainly helps. Like you look at Christian McCaffrey, and like 49ers have been in the mix a couple times, and he's been more of a pass catcher as well. During his career, Derrick Henry has been a beast, but Jonathan Taylor's been a beast sometimes too.
And then into the league, they the Ashton Nagenti,
Ashton Jeanty, yeah.
For the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yep.
I mean, he's had a very slow start, but it's just maybe we're getting back. Remember how this is cyclical? How running backs were a dying breed,
right?
3 or 4 years ago,
and
now if you've got that guy, again, the value that Taylor brings to Jones in his offense is immeasurable.
Yep.
I think it probably also is just a function of the Colts not being really relevant on the NFL landscape.
It's like DeForest Buckner.
You just kind of get lost in the shuffle. You think
Right.
about all these other teams that are, winning in the division and getting in the playoffs, and then you think about the Colts and their kind of, 500 record. And,
we'll give you Quentin Nelson because he's great.
Right. And so you forget about Taylor, which is absurd because he has been remarkably consistent since he's come into the league.
For the Titans, players who did not practice, a couple of starters on the offensive line, J.C. Latham with a hip injury did not practice, and neither did Kevin Zeitler, a guard, with a biceps injury. Also, wide receiver Bryce Oliver with a knee injury, and Colts cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. Why'd you put Colts cornerback L'Jarius Sneed here in the Titans?
Did I sneak that on there?
Yeah. What are you doing there, Matt? I thought he was like guaranteed Colts. Anyway.
That's funny that you say that, Dave, because I was thinking like when we were doing this podcast, I was going to drop in. Wait, I thought he played for the Colts.
Yeah. Okay.
And I didn't put that in the rundown, and you read my mind.
I did. Well, we've been in this room for too long, too many times. And we're starting to.
It's a lock. L'Jarius Sneed plays for the Colts.
Exactly. So he has a back injury. He did not practice on Wednesday. Limited in Wednesday's practice. Kyle Mullings, the running back with an ankle injury. Defensive tackle Devondre Sweat,
which is a significant one for them.
Yep. And safety Kevin Winston with a hamstring injury. So those are their injuries that we'll certainly be looking at for the rest of this week. As Chap says, the Friday injury report is by far the most important one.
This is the Wednesday report from Tennessee, so we'll see what they do here in a little bit.
Yeah, out of all those players who are on the injury reports, the most important one for the Titans could be their tackle in J.C. Latham, like an edge guy as a offensive line that has been bad anyway. And for the Colts, Laiatu Latu, an edge rusher. And Chap, you've said it already that the Colts have been seeking some consistent edge pressure this year. That's one thing that on defense they probably have not had. Offense, that we pointed it out earlier, kind of the red zone stuff is the one thing that's lacking so far, but that seems to be on both sides of the ball. If you look at one thing that could be improved on this 2-0 start, on defense, it's the edge rush, and they expect it to be Laiatu Latu kind of in the crosshairs there.
Yeah, and again, the rest of the guys are more complementary players.
Right.
I was surprised that JT
Tuimoloau
didn't play a ton. I think Ebukam had more snaps. Tyquan Lewis hasn't done much other than get a personal foul for shoving Nicks out of bounds.
Yeah.
Which you can't do it.
Can't do it.
They're going to call that every day. So again, you like the secondary, but you've got to affect the quarterback, and you've got to affect the rookie quarterback who's still trying to find his way.
Mm-hmm. And now that falls on Latu because we think we know what Kwity Paye is right now, which is a pretty good edge.
You need more.
But yeah, you
need something.
And so it falls on Latu to kind of be that guy for the Colts, and maybe he's that guy. And if it's not, well, you go back to the drawing board yet again and look for that edge rusher. And
it's never good to chase mistakes.
Exactly, and that's why, like when you're in the running for Daniil Hunter in free agency, you pay the money to get him. And to be fair to the Colts in that scenario, like Hunter took less money but more guaranteed money to go elsewhere. So
which is really more money.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. It's less money, but it's more money. Yeah, that's a good point, Matt.
Less is more. Right?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And so when you chase mistakes, you have to do things that you don't want to do, like up the ante a little bit in what you're paying free agents to come here. And so that's why the hope is Laiatu Latu's the guy. He gets a chance, hopefully, knock on wood, to return from that hamstring injury this week against a team that has been desperately trying to figure out how to block a pass rush. So it would be a good opportunity for him to be back out on the field, trying to get after the quarterback. The Colts take on the Titans in Nashville, 1 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. If you're in central Indiana, you can watch the game on CBS 4. Be sure to join us for the Colts Blue Zone pregame show Sunday morning on CBS 4 at 11:30 a.m. I think the Colts opened as like a 3.5-point favorite, but that has jumped to 4.5 points.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
is
when
what
I
saw.
checked this morning, it was at 3.5. So
okay,
it's gone up
at least I saw in some
point.
places it's gone to 4.5. So a lot of folks are liking the Colts. Like I said, they love the 2-0 teams facing 0-2 squads, and It's understandably why. It goes one of two ways, that Vegas doesn't fully understand how good teams are yet, or they don't. They put too much stock in how bad teams are, and
normally there's not really bad teams. Normally you're just bad enough to win games here and there. So we'll now Cleveland might be a different matter, but again, this is one, like you said, that I remember used to do. I quit doing it when I lost the Losers Challenge.
Yep,
where you took a game every week, and this is one. Well, I'd probably take Miami and Buffalo, but this looks way too good to be true if you want to bet the Colts, because the Titans have shown you not. They've shown you fight, and then the game wears on them and it gets away from them. But boy, this looks like a good bet for the Colts.
Yeah, but it's a 42.5 or a 43.5 point line as well right there. So eyeing some kind of a, 23-20 ball game is what Vegas says, something around that range. If the Titans score 20 points, I think that'd be bad for the Colts. Not that I think the Colts offense couldn't score that, but I just think the Titans offense is terrible. You don't want to give up 20 points.
They haven't shown the ability to do that yet, so you don't want the Colts to be the team to
Don't be
let them do it.
Exactly. So let's think about the game, and I will give my prediction, and then we'll go to Matt and then to Chap to wrap us up with the predictions. I think the Colts win this game. Titans have not been impressive so far, and they really don't scare me in any significant way. There's no, as Rick Venturi says, ambient players. None of those guys they have good players. Like I said, I think Tony Pollard, solid player. Calvin Ridley, solid player. But nobody that just puts the fear of God into you on that side, on that team. Jeffrey Simmons is maybe the closest one to that as a pretty darn good player.
And he can wreck a game.
He can, yes. So, but like if you're the Colts, you have Quentin Nelson who's playing in the interior of the offensive line entirely. He's playing pretty well right now. So like I said, it's just not anybody that's keeping me up at night right now. So I'm going to go with the Colts. I'm going to go 27-13. And the Colts start 3-0 on the year. And Mike Chappell was right all along. I was wrong all along. But now I try to piggyback off of Mike and try to be right now.
Climb aboard.
Exactly. All aboard the train to back to the postseason for the first time since 2020. Matt, what do you think?
Well, I do think I like the Colts this week. I'm sure that's going to come back to bite me. But I think they'll get Ward back this week, and that's going to make just a complete difference for the defense. Hopefully they do get Latu back as well. Obviously, Cam Ward has struggled. At some point in this season, the light will go on for him. I'm just hoping that it's not in week 3 against the Colts. So, but they've been able to run the ball. Jones has really done a masterful job, and I did not think at any point in the season I would be saying that Daniel Jones has been a masterful job at quarterback, but he really has so far for the Colts. They've schemed it up well. They've coached him up well. It's been really nice. So let's hope that can continue. It's their first road game. It's a divisional game. Should mention Jacksonville and Tennessee or Houston play each other this week. So, the Colts, if they can go to 3-0, it's not going to be a commanding divisional lead or anything like that, but they've got a chance to, pick up a little bit of slack there. So that's a lot of words just to say I'm going to pick the Colts this week. I'm going to go with a 24-10 score this game.
Chap.
I've got 27-17. I think this is a game that is comfortable. And most NFL games aren't comfortable, but I just think if they keep doing what they're doing, which again, as I said, nothing spectacular, getting Ward back is huge. It's just huge when you've got a guy who can take care of half the field.
Yep.
And again, we've not seen the best of Jonathan Taylor yet this year in 2 games, and I'm still waiting for Josh Downs to go off, and I think he's got that in him too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think this is a game that comfortable. Go in the fourth quarter with a 2-possession lead and then just kind of salt. What is it Shane says? Throw to score and run to win.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the perfect game for that.
When it comes to Josh Downs, here's my thought on his start to the season. I think the Colts have been very good at getting Tyler Warren the ball in these first couple weeks and showing other teams a strong way to put it, but at least putting an offense on the field that highlights Tyler Warren. And the more teams try to stop Tyler Warren, I think the more things will open up for Josh Downs over the coming weeks throughout the rest of the season. So I think that's a little bit of a back and forth between those two because they both attack the field in the center of the field.
I was going to say, the thing with Warren, he sort of takes away some of what Downs does.
Yes, you're right.
Which is not a bad thing for the team.
Right. And I think over the course of the season, you're going to have some games where Josh Downs gets 8 catches, and you're going to have some games when Tyler Warren gets 8 catches,
right.
you know?
No, you kind of, I mean, obviously Warren's had 2 really solid games for the Colts, but Downs only had 3 targets in that first game against Miami. He had significantly more targets. And I know he didn't have a lot of yards, but I think he had like 51 yards, something like that, and had some really key receptions for him.
He has a couple different
just a guy you can always go to. He's almost always open.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, Chap, but I think it's important to say again, A.D. Mitchell's been just fine through the first 2 weeks. He's catching balls that come to him. He's finishing plays. He's doing kind of what we expected. He's not super involved in the offense because there's other guys who are just in front of him on the depth chart. But he's taking advantage of the opportunities that come his way so far. So I think that should be encouraging to Colts fans who have high expectations for A.D. Mitchell, as they should, because in man coverage, he's a really, really pretty good player.
But we've said from the start that he might be the guy that has to sacrifice the most because of where he is on the depth chart.
Right.
But when he gets a chance to make plays, again, go to sleep on him and he'll get behind you. And I've got more faith this year that he's going to make the play than I did last year for obvious reasons.
He's made some really nice sideline catches.
Yes, he has.
Tough throws.
Tough throws, tough catches. And those were the things that, I mean, last year, let's just face it, they just were not happening.
Right.
He wasn't getting to the ball. He was in the wrong spot, or he would just pull up.
Well, maybe this week he faces Colts defensive back L'Jarius Sneed over there in Tennessee, and he's able to
little friendly fire.
Can Sneed wear like a Colts jersey, or that probably against league rules?
I don't know. Maybe he wears it underneath his shirt, like the WWE guys. All of a sudden,
rip it apart.
my God, that's the Colts music. No, he was a Colt all along. Yeah, you get JR just going off on the microphone. That would be fantastic. But we get a little bit. We get to see what the AFC South is a little bit this week with Colts Titans, with Jaguars Texans. It's very possible that the Colts beat the Titans, and if the Texans beat the Jaguars, then it's 3-0, and then 2 teams at 1-2.
You'd be pulling more for Jacksonville. You want to put space between
you and Houston. You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
You just because in the long term you think Houston.
You have no faith in Jacksonville right now?
I have little faith in Jacksonville.
Well, Jacksonville's going to get at least 1 win against the Colts this year. We know that to be true because I'm going to be down there.
If they break that streak, then this is a special season.
Yeah,
so
right.
Hoist the Lombardi.
Will they all be done if they win in Jacksonville? Will all the streaks?
The important streak. Yeah,
the 2 big ones were
and the playoffs
and opening week, and then obviously at Jacksonville, and then getting into the playoffs
and winning the AFC South. I mean, you can talk
South.
about those ones too. So
they've not done that since 2014, and I think every other team in the division has won the division since then.
Multiple times since then, at least twice. Yes. Yeah, exactly. The Texans have won more than twice, but I mean, Jaguars, Titans have each won it at least twice since then. So 2014, Dave's first year in Indianapolis. So it was the last time.
When is it? You guys are smarter than me. When does Tennessee go into the new stadium?
I think it's not next year, but the year after. Because
and it's right there, isn't it? I mean,
it is right on top of Nissan Stadium. Like I thought, because we went to a family reunion in July, and so we went right through downtown Nashville on 65 and went right by the stadium. And it looks like it's an extension of the current one. Yeah. That is how close they are right now.
Okay. It's a beautiful situation. Where it's situated right downtown. Mm-hmm. It's just a nice situation.
It'll be great when it's done, for sure. And but until then, it's.
But parking for current Titans games, a mess. From I have some relatives obviously that live down there, and they're just like it's absurd right now.
Well, fortunately, the Colts get their own special parking spot.
The Colts don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, so. they can get right in and get to work as they try to go for a 3-0 record in Nashville this week. Like I said, 1:00 kickoff if you're in Central Indiana. Broadcast on CBS 4, and check out the Colts Blue Zone pregame show at 11:30 a.m. We do appreciate you listening to the Colts Blue Zone podcast. Subscribe, get us delivered to your podcast listening device as soon as we drop every week. Also available on YouTube and on the Fox 59 Now app. We appreciate you watching there if you are. I'm Dave Griffiths at DaveG_Sports. Mike Chappell is at MChappell51. Matt Adams is at Stat and Matty. We'll see you next week on the Colts Blue Zone podcast.